From beautiful Overland Park, Kansas, on the campus of Johnson County Community College, it's the Brandon Parnes Hour of Fun. Join Brandon State for some great music, some of the latest news from the world of entertainment, fun comedy bits, and as always, an hour of fun. And now, here's your host, Brandon Parnes.
Welcome to the Brandon Parnes Hour of Fun. You guys are in for a treat today. Today we have, I'll say it, a special co-host, if you will, who is a Nickelodeon legend, one of the last great Nickelodeon game show hosts and television personalities around. Jeff Sutphen is here.
Hey, Brandon, thanks for having me on the show, and that was a very, very kind introduction. I don't know if I would put great in front of my name, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it all the way to the bank.
Okay, and it will be worth $0. I will tell you that up front.
Well, we'll find out. We'll throw it up on eBay a little later and see what comes of it. We'll send it up the flagpole, see who salutes.
Yes, we're going to first kick it off with Accidentally in Love by the Counting Crows, and we'll tell you why it's Accidentally in Love by the Counting Crows. That was on the Shrek 2 soundtrack, and it was performed on You Pick Live, which Jeff Sutphen, right here, was a producer on.
That's right. It was actually a true story. I believe that was the very first ever musical performance performed on You Pick Live.
I would not be surprised if I find out that is true.
Yeah, it comes from a pretty reliable source.
Yes.
But it was funny because they, when we got them on the show, because they were obviously promoting Shrek 2,
yeah.
And they were going to come on the show, and they said, well, they want to perform a song. And, of course, we were all huge Counting Crow fans, but we had never done a musical performance before. And our studio was tiny. Yeah. I mean, this thing was like, it was literally a broom closet prior to You Pick Live taking it on, and we just basically kind of cleaned it out and threw a bunch of kids' cameras and cast members in there. And so they're like, hey, we want to come perform live. And we're like, that sounds awesome. We'd love that. But we don't really have the space. And they're like, no, we'll do it. And Counting Crows, the band was like 8 people large at that time, and they had full, they wanted to bring in a grand piano and all these things, and we're like, oh my gosh. And we ended up making it happen some way.
Yeah.
We crammed them all in there, and because they were adamant that they wanted to do it, and of course, who would we say no to the Counting Crows? And so they became our very first ever musical performance, and because it was such it was successful, and of course was such a big band, that moving forward, we ended up, taking on more of those challenges, and we started off with a very hard one, so anything after that was easy.
And if you hear static in the background, that's because we have Nickelodeon legend Jeff Sutphen is here, and so Jeff, we are going to play another song right now.
Okay.
And that song is Bowling for Soup's 1985, which, why am I playing that song? Do you know why?
It was on You Pick Live, the Halloween episode, if I'm not mistaken.
It was the Halloween episode. Sadly, I cannot find it on YouTube, but here for you is an acoustic version of that song. That was Bowling for Soup with an acoustic version of 1985, and the reason why I played an acoustic version is because an acoustic version was played on You Pick Live, and we're celebrating You Pick Live and a bunch of other amazing things because Jeff Sutphen is here, Nickelodeon legend. Hello,
What's
Jeff.
up? Good to be here. Thanks for having me, Brandon.
It's amazing to have you. This is one of my childhood... I guess a childhood dream come true, because I didn't even dream that I would have a radio show, let alone be talking to the amazing Jeff Sutphen, so.
Well, that's, I woke up today and I said, I want to make dreams come true. And you reached out to me, and so I said, okay, well, there we go, mission accomplished. So me being able to make your dreams come true has been making my dream come true for the day. So it's a win-win.
It's a circle of life, everybody. Sadly, that's a Disney film, but we're still going to reference that because it's a great song by Elton John, of course. And so Jeff, do you mind actually bumping us to commercial break? Just say we'll be right back here on the Brandon Parnes Hour of Fun.
We'll be right back here on the Brandon Parnes Hour of Fun. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the Brandon Parnes Hour of Fun. Jeff Sutphen is here with me today on the phone, Nickelodeon legend. Jeff, again, thank you so much for being on the show.
No, thanks for having me. And it's always it's fantastic because I don't think we get enough fun in our life, and if I can cram all the fun into this hour, then that'll be, that'll fulfill my fun quota for the day.
Well, that's great. That's great. First off, there's so much to talk about, so little time. But first, I want to talk about the garage show because it's a great thing
Sure.
you're doing. It's like kind of like a intermittent, do it when you can online series that takes place in your garage, and it's like a talk show in your garage.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of came up with the idea. I was standing in my garage one day, and I just finished doing Figure It Out for Nickelodeon, and it was one of those things where I didn't have anything kind of on tap, and I was standing there going, you know what? I could shoot a show right here in my garage. I said I could put up a piece of wood with some sawhorses for a desk and some of these folding chairs, and I looked to my left, and one of my neighbors is a professional musician. I was like, he could be the house band, and another neighbor across the street from him had a bunch of camera equipment in his garage because he's a cameraman. And I said, I'm just going to go knock on their doors and see if they want to do it. And it was really just kind of an excuse to be an idiot and entertain myself and any neighbors that might have been walking by at the time. But yeah, I've been able to put together a few episodes. I still am trying to do more because I have a lot of really fun ideas. It's just an issue of finding, the time and the resources to be able to do it. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I did my favorite episode was the episode that really kind of paved the way for the format, which is the one with all the Nickelodeon hosts.
And that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about next, because I was right here on this very campus. I was down in this little kind of lounge we have, and I watched that episode. And my God, the nostalgia I felt, it was amazing. And I want to thank you for that episode because it was amazing.
Yeah, I was laying in bed one night and I was like, what can I do for the next episode? And who can I reach out to? And I've had like a handful of correspondence with Mark Summers because he was the Nickelodeon game show host when I was growing up. Double Dare, and it was one of those things. I always watched him, and I had a handful of interactions with him with all the stuff I'd done with Nickelodeon over the years. And he was, incredibly nice guy. And of course, I had his email address, and I fired off an email and said, like, hey, listen, I'm thinking of doing this. I want to try and rally up all the old Nickelodeon game show hosts. And he said, yeah, just tell me when. I'll be there. So, you get the Godfather on board.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone follows suit. I reached out I found Phil Moore online, and within 5 minutes of emailing him, he called me and said he was in. And, digging up information on Kirk Fogg was a little difficult, but once I was able to get through to him and I said, hey, Mark's in and Phil's in, and, he was like, yeah, tell me when and where. And everyone, that was awesome. I mean, it was like, I'm, obviously part of that lexicon, but obviously those guys built Nickelodeon as far as I'm concerned, and it was so cool to sit down. Exactly, I wouldn't have the jobs or the career I have had if it wasn't for those guys. So to be able to kind of sit down and share the war stories with those guys was awesome. I'm fairly certain. I don't think. They obviously have all known each other. Their paths have crossed here and there, but I don't think they've all sat together ever before that show. So that was a big thing. I was like, we're doing something new. We're doing something different. And, and then to top it off, to kind of compete in a game show.
That was great.
Was really fun too.
Yeah.
And that was cool. I brought in, from all my time in working in game shows, I put together a group of people that's what they do.
Yeah.
Their job is they make game shows, and I contacted all my buddies there, and I said, listen, I want to do this game show in my garage with these players. I said, I want round one to be, Nick Trivia from, the 80s and 90s. Round two is Nick Trivia from 90s to 2000s present, and then round three is, the answers will be one of us. I said, I don't want to know the questions. Those are the rounds. I want it to be legit and fair. Create it and go. And they, wrote all the questions. They built out all the graphics. They did this amazing. I mean, it's like awesome.
Yeah.
And
that was super cool.
I get to, now too, is just to have those guys, with Kirk, Phil, and Mark, in my corner is really cool, and I still talk to them, here and there. So
That's amazing. And you also had, because I do amateur magic. Maybe I don't think I told you that, but I do amateur magic, and you had actually one of my favorite magicians, Murray, on.
Oh yeah. Talk about that guy's a trooper, man. He drove all the way. He got up at like 4 a.m. because he lives in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And jumped in the car and brought all those guys to my garage. And we did, the whole magic episode in the garage, which was awesome. I mean, and he's another guy. That's the thing. Doing the garage show, especially when people are like, "Oh, I'm going to drive all the way to your house and sit in your garage," like they could be really like kind of about it. But not only are they saying like, "Hey, I'll come and do it," but when they get there, they're just so pleasant, so awesome, and like, let me know what you need. But and everyone, it's everyone wants to be there, and they want it to be good. And that was my first time meeting Murray, and again, he's another person. After I met him, we hit it off immediately. We talk on the phone probably like once a month. We shoot texts back and forth, and I mean he's such a cool guy, and really just easygoing.
That's super cool. And let's talk about, as in most romantic comedies, a character, of course, in the romantic comedy is New York City. A character in your show is the garage itself, because when I first
I think that's pretty safe to say.
When I first saw your garage, I kind of almost freaked out because besides just being a Nickelodeon fan, I'm like, how there's like people who claim to be like Star Wars historians or cartoon historians. I'm like a Kids' Choice Awards historian. I've watched them every year since 2000, and just seen all the Kids' Choice Awards and other Nickelodeon miscellaneous stuff you have in your garage. It freaked me out.
Yeah, I got to a point a handful of years back where I decided, I realized, like, man, this train is going to come to a screeching halt someday, and I should try and grab some souvenirs while I can. So I started, like, from every shoot I was on, I would take something. So from Kids' Choice Awards, hosting I did 11 years of hosting the pre-show on the orange carpet. So that was awesome, and I used to try and grab something from that, and I think I have some stuff there from You Pick Live. There's when Pick Boy ran for president in 2004.
Yeah.
I have that poster.
You have the Figure It Out podium.
The Figure It Out podium, yeah.
It was actually technically the announcer's podium.
Yes, exactly. That was the one that Elle stood behind.
Yes.
But I rewired it so you can plug it in and it still lights up, which is cool.
That's awesome.
And then I might not have caught it, but all the way in the back there's a little exit sign. And that was the exit sign that was over the top of the brain drain on Brain Search.
Oh, that is super cool.
Yeah, that's like the only thing from Brain Search I have, because the problem is like all the sets nowadays, everything is digital.
Yeah.
It's like all, TV screens where they can put logos that move. There's not a whole lot of set pieces anymore, so it became increasingly hard to get stuff. But that's what I could grab from Brain Search. The only other thing I wanted to get from Brain Search, which I couldn't, they won't give to me, is I wanted Jeff's big book of Super Fantastic True Chronicles of Truth that are absolutely true.
Yeah.
And that is sitting in an office somewhere.
Do you ever go visit in say my precious like Lord of the Rings?
I don't, but the thing besides just wanting it, I have all my notes.
Oh.
On every episode, I would write all my little notes on each page. When we'd get to that level, I'd make sure I wrote all the kids' names and proper pronunciation on things. Because there's also little things like my handwriting. There's nothing groundbreaking in there Secret to Life, but it is kind of like I said. It's not only such an iconic prop from that show, but it does have all my personal doodlings and scribblings in it.
That's cool. That's really cool. This was your 13th Kids' Choice Awards, I think, if I did the math right.
Yes, I did. I went this year.
Yeah, I just mean going to the Kids' Choice Awards.
I was not. Yeah. And I'll tell you, as you said, you watch it every year. The show's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 38. I'm 38 years old, and it is still like the highlight of my year.
Yeah.
That show, it is so fun to go to. It's just something they do such a good job with it. I've become, very obviously in tune with all the bells and whistles of what they do with that show. And every year, they outdo themselves. And the guy that does all the slime for them,
Yeah.
his shop is about 2 miles from my house.
Wow.
And he was also, they hired him to do all the slime and stuff for Figure It Out. So I've become very friendly with him.
Well, that's
every
awesome,
once in a
Jeff.
while,
We're
I'll
going to
go
be
over
right
to his
back
shop.
here on the Brandon Parnes Hour Fun. Sorry to cut you off, Jeff. Sorry to cut Jeff off there. We're here with Jeff Sutphen from Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon legend Jeff Sutphen is here on the Brandon Parnes Hour Fun. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, what's going on? Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
No,
okay. I tend to ramble. A lot. Brevity has never been my strong suit.
I tend to ramble too, but luckily this show, being the formatted 11-minute segments, has made me a good time watcher.
Well, I'm currently running my own time right now, so I don't ramble.
Yeah. Big news about Kids' Choice. It just came out today. We're recording this on Wednesday the 22nd. Happy late Earth Day, everybody. Russell Wilson is hosting Kids' Choice Sports.
Yeah, I actually saw that announcement today too. That's a big win for them.
Yeah. Being the Nickelodeon host that you are, and you were at Kids' Choice Sports last year, what do you think is the biggest thing that Russell needs to remember in hosting just any show on Nickelodeon?
First and foremost, slime, as awesome as it is and as great as it is to get slime, because as far as I'm concerned, it's a rite of passage.
Definitely.
And if you are going to host anything Nickelodeon, you need to be slimed. And I'm not just talking about getting a little on your shirt. You need to get it hard.
Yeah.
The number one thing is, as awesome as it is, that stuff is so slippery.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many times I have fallen flat on my back because of it. But that's the big thing is when you get slimed, walk softly afterwards because you will go down.
Yeah, and what's funny is because I remember in 2013, Josh Duhamel didn't even get slimed yet, and he fell right on his back because Pitbull got slimed.
Oh yeah, I did. I can't remember if that was the year I did the super slime stunt with.
No, that was
Big Show.
That was the year before. That was 2012.
That was 2012, and then when I was doing the big wrestling slime match. And the Big Show, I told them before we shot, I said to the Big Show, who is enormous, each finger is like a gherkin pickle. He's just huge. And I said to him, listen, and especially with the wrestling boots, which are flat-soled, I said, when that slime starts going, don't move, because you will slip and fall. And he's like, yeah, okay. And so I hand him, the belt and the title of Slime Champion. He holds it above his head. They hit him and me with fire hoses, full pressure of slime. And sure enough, he goes back on his heels and he's going to fall flat on his back. And what's he do? He reaches out with his huge arm and puts it across my chest like, I'm going to hold him up? And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. And I just stepped to the side and he went straight down on his back.
Wow. I'm gonna get this video VHS transfer device, and I videotaped on VHS the 2012 show because I didn't have DVR, and I'm gonna, once I get that transferred, I'm gonna watch that and look for that.
Yeah, he went down, and then I guess I had to join him, so I think I laid down and we made Slime Angels, but yeah, I figured if I don't get out of the way as he's falling, he's gonna land right on top of me.
Yeah.
So it was probably safe. And the reality of it, I've been slimed. A lot of people are like, oh, how many times have you been slimed? And that's like, I lost count. It's not even worth counting anymore. I've been well over 100 times. Over 100 times.
I am envying you right now because I've never been slimed in my life. And
it's all good. People, that's the other thing is everyone always says to me, they're like, man, you've got to be sick and tired of it. And I'm like, no. It's like, if this is the worst part of my job, I still got it pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it must, at this point, it must be like
It's not a
therapy
big
for you.
deal.
It's like every time you get slimed, it's like, yes, calming, lovely slime falling down my body.
No, it's just one of those things. I remember like doing some show. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, don't worry, we won't slime you," or like, "Oh, we don't want you to get slimed." And I'm like, guys, I'm the host of a Nickelodeon show. I can't not get slimed.
Yeah.
Like, besides the fact that I don't care, I prefer it. Plus, it would look really silly if, like, once the slime starts flying, I run out of the way.
Yeah.
Like a coward. I said, let it fly. Get it all over me. I don't care.
Yeah. It's like in the mythical Nickelodeon handbook. All hosts that involve slime must get slimed.
Absolutely.
And so, moving on, I wanted to know this, not just for me. How did you get into hosting? Just hosting.
I tell you, my path was very different. I had a very non-traditional route into the world of hosting. I went to school, much like yourself, for TV, radio, film. I had a radio show in college. I had the TV show in college. I took all the classes, and I learned to be, to work in television. I was, edited all my own stuff. And I came out of school, and I was, a production assistant and worked my way up as a producer. And then when I got hired I always kind of did some small stuff on the side on camera, but never put all my eggs in that basket. As much as I liked it, I really loved producing as well. And it just was one of those things that I got to Nickelodeon and they said, "Hey, there's going to be some small stuff on camera. Do you want to do it?" I said, "Absolutely." And one thing led to the next. And, the biggest thing is I always said yes to everything. "Hey, do you want to?" "Yes." "Hey, can you help us with it?" "Yes." And I just wanted to open myself up to as many great experiences as I could. And then, as I got older, I realized, like, man, I've been able to do so much, and then I could kind of now go, this is the path I want to go. So once the hosting thing really kind of took off, I was able to really dial in on that. And I think for me, a lot of people say, like, "Oh, well, you're an actor." I'm like, no, I'm not an actor. I can't act to save my life. I do one thing better than anybody else in the world, and that's be myself. And I have the ability to be myself on camera.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes me a successful host, is because I'm not pretending to be anybody else. If you see me laughing at something, I'm legitimately laughing. I'm not faking that. I'm not, if you see me excited or surprised, I'm legitimately, that's a real emotion. So it's just one of those things that, to me, I feel, if I can say why I've been successful, if you want to consider what I've had so far in my career a success.
Okay. So right now, The Meet, You Pick Live. That show was so formative for me. That plus all like the other Nickelodeon game shows I watched really kind of inspired me to like want to be just on TV or in film, but more TV and like be a host and stuff like that. So I got to thank you first off for that.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could be of an influence. Hopefully a good influence.
A great influence, actually. A great influence. But I remember it was so cool because Nickelodeon is one of those networks, not to knock them or anything, but they don't always remember the past. It's all about what's new, what's hot, the present, and all that stuff. But one of the cool things that happened on your show is Mike O'Malley was on. And I remember Brent saying Brent and Mike were playing basketball like on a little hoop, and Brent was like, "We're back with Mike O'Malley from Guts and Get the Picture." And I was like, "What, that show?" But I know them because they were on Nickelodeon Games and Sports, the digital channel, which were playing reruns for like ages, but they weren't seen on the main network probably for like 5, 6, 7 years at that point. So that was just really cool to see right there.
Yeah, I think You Pick Live, that was one of the things that we always did. While we were trying to always be, do something new and different and stay up with the times, I think we were very aware of our past and what Nickelodeon was. Yeah. And I think that was one of those things that we wanted to not snub it and turn our cheek to that, but also take that and bring it to the next level. What you got to remember is nowadays, you watch any TV, I don't care if it's major network TV or whatever, it's, sync your app with this, or go online and tell us what you think of it. You Pick Live was doing that before anybody was doing that.
It really was.
When you were doing you would go online and vote for the show you want to see. That was legit.
Yeah.
You guys went and voted on this, and we showed it. You guys voted on the challenges you wanted to do. There was no other TV station, like I said, network, whatever, that was doing that. And we really, in my opinion, we paved the way for that, even if it was at its most rudimentary, basic level. And as time, continued to progress and different technologies came out, and we could, now make things easier. I mean, I remember, when we started doing it, it was just as simple as voting. And when we ended the season, we started having like the Insta thing where you could literally text us and we could pop it up on the screen. I mean, so the technology was always changing so fast. And that was a big thing for us to stay, up with it.
Yeah, definitely. And when we come back, and if you don't mind, I'd love to have you on tomorrow's show as well, because we are definitely going to run out of time after our next segment. But we're going to talk about a very fun story revolving the one-hit wonder You Pick Live band, The Pickles, which was I remember watching that and just being like, what is going on? This is amazing. And we're going to talk about that. Jeff has a great story about it. When we come back, Jeff, would you like to bump us to commercial?
Sure.
Just when you're ready.
Hey, don't go anywhere. There's more with Brandon and me, Jeff, when we come back.
Beautiful. And we're back! That was a little Jimmy Fallon doing the radio guy, for those of you who care. I'm here with Jeff Sutphen, Brandon Parnes Hour of Fun.
Hello.
Hello, Jeff. So tell us, because you sent me this on email, and I remember watching it on television when it aired. It was a fake documentary about the Pickles, which were the You Pick Live one-hit wonder band. And
yeah, that's right.
And you said you had a story. I'd love to hear it.
The Pickles was everybody's favorite band that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because, like I said, when we were doing You Pick Live, we were on every day. And so you always needed to have a lot of ideas. And so every week we always had a big pitch meeting where we would hash out all the creative for the next week. And one of the things I said was like, we should have Pick Boy come out and just say, hey guys, I'm getting the band back together. And Brent would, as always, dismiss Pick Boy like, whatever, you're just, talking a bunch of crap as usual. And then I would pick, Pick Boy would then pick a kid for the prize wall, so on. But the producer of the show said, you know what, I like that. That's, I think, an even bigger idea. So we kind of sat on it. But then we started going like, all right, let's actually think about this, like putting the band back together. Now, Brent could really play drums. Candace could really sing. So it was like, all right, this is great. And, we had people on the show that knew how to play instruments.
And Pick Boy could actually really tune a guitar, right?
Pick Boy was really good at tuning guitars. That's all he knew how to do. As good as his hair was, it didn't translate to his actual guitar playing prowess. So anyway, and so we decided, like, hey, let's see if we can make like a little mini documentary. We pitched it to our bosses at Nickelodeon. They're like, no, just, we don't need to do that. And we all thought it was a really good idea. So kind of in our spare time, we would start shooting all our own stuff for it. Like every shoot we did, we would always just kind of piggyback off that and, shoot little bits and pieces. And we just ended up stringing together this story of this band. And we were kind of making it up as we were going along. It wasn't like we had a script. It was just always kind of like, we'll do this. And we had celebrities come by the show all the time, and we would say, like, hey, we have this fake band. Do you want to talk about them? And they're like, oh yeah. And they would make up stuff. And from that, we just ended up like really kind of putting together this whole story of this fictional band that none of us even knew anything about. And it ended up coming together. We put together like a little trailer, and there was a big company meeting that used to happen every Monday, and everyone would show like, here's what our department's doing. And we popped in like, here's what we've been kind of toying around with. And everyone loved it. And from that point, they were like, yeah, go get it done. And so we just kind of really strung this thing together. It took about, 6 months to put together. And it just ended up, to this day, it's probably one of the things I'm most proud of that we've ever done, that I've ever done in my career. And it was one of the things that was the most fun. And we had someone write a hit song for us, which obviously was amazing, and we could actually all play it live too.
Yeah.
Which was, that was the big part of it. We wanted a song that, with the musical abilities that we had, that we could actually play. So,
and it was just
awesome.
It was beautiful because because I watched it last night after you sent it to me. And I knew that it was on YouTube, and I watched it before, but I just kind of wanted to give myself a refresher. And Jeff Probst was hosting it, which was genius, and Steve Burns
awesome.
from Blue's Clues was your manager.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And because I was a Blue's Clues fanatic when I was a kid, and to an extent still am. So that was super fun. And then just Tracy Morgan being oh, Tracy Morgan, at that age, I didn't know who Tracy Morgan was, and that was the other great thing about Nickelodeon is with Kids Choice Awards and You Pick Live and Slamtime Live, you'll bring on the people kids know, like Nick Carter or NSYNC or whatever, those people. But then you'll bring on Bruce Willis, and you're and I'm a kid who's who's Bruce Willis? But now it's to this day, even though I know that he was in Die Hard and Surrogates and all that stuff, it was I saw him on Nickelodeon voicing Spike the dog in the Rugrats movie.
Right. Well, that was the thing with Jeff Probst was You Pick Live came on right when Survivor first started. And we always used to get the Survivor cast-off that would come on every Friday. Well, we said we put the invitation out for Jeff Probst to come to the show. He came to the show, and I remember he was, he's I don't know what I'm doing on this show. I'm an old guy. I can't relate to kids, blah, 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 blah. He did the show. He had a great time. He went back to his hotel room. His phone lit up with all these messages and texts from all his college buddies who had kids. And they're my kids just saw you on You Pick Live and thought you were awesome. And all of a sudden he realized, oh my gosh, this show has got a huge reach. And besides the fact that he had a good time. So then what happens is every time he came to New York, he would call us.
Wow.
And say, hey, I'm in New York. Can I come by the show? And we're yeah, come on out. So, and then he called us one time and said, hey, I'm going to be in New York during this week. Can I come by the show? And we said, oh, we're actually not live that week. We're on hiatus. But we do want to, how about you come by the studio? We'll pre-tape something, but then can you host this, special for us about this fake band? And he was totally. So he came and did that all for free.
That's amazing.
And I mean, he did the whole thing in one take because he's just so good. And he nailed all the comic timing.
Yeah.
He was just amazing. I mean, and that's the kind of, that's the kind of guy he is. He's just a really cool guy. And like I said, he would always reach out to us. It was never even an issue of oh, we got to track him down. He came by all the time.
That's super cool. And if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, he was the host of a very pivotal moment in You Pick Live history. When Pick Boy got voted off the show.
Yes, that was a season finale. Was it season 3, I believe?
I think
so.
June.
It was Big June. It was the same time in the pickle there. Yeah. But the funny, he came on every time Jeff Probst was on. Someone got voted off the show.
Yeah.
So of course it was a big season finale. We were shooting in California. We had an audience of 200 members, which was a much bigger deal than we were used to because we shot in New York with only an audience of 15. And so, of course, Jeff Probst was there. We needed to vote someone off. Now, Pick Boy, who's not the smartest guy in the world, world's greatest picking superhero, yes, not the smartest guy in the world, thought it was a popularity contest. So he actually wanted to get the votes. He campaigned to the audience to get the votes, not realizing that it would mean he would be cast off the show. But what was happening was during a commercial break, all the producers came out and we said, hey, everybody, we want you to, we're going to get a shot of everyone writing down their vote and showing it to camera. We need everybody to write Pick Boy. And all the kids in the audience wouldn't do it.
Oh,
They
wow.
said we all the kids they were like, we don't want Pick Boy off the show. They would not write down his name. So Pick Boy had to come out and say to all the kids, "Don't worry, it's okay. I won't get voted off the show." And so that we literally, it took us, we had to persuade the audience to actually cast Pick Boy off. And the other really funny story about that was we did a segment earlier where we had a Pick Boy dummy fall off the roof of the show, of the place we were recording, and that part was never supposed to air, so it looked like Pick Boy fell to his death. And then we came back from the commercial, and we're like, I'm okay, it was only a dummy that fell off the roof. And then I got voted off the show. And so Pick Boy died, came back to life, and then was voted off the show all in one episode.
That's amazing. But of course, he miraculously came back better than ever. He had a new design uniform, and it was amazing. I think that's my favorite Pick Boy costume. I like that design.
I believe it's referred to as the classic.
The classic
look. I think, so we have the old school Pick Boy, which was the original P logo, then the classic look, which had the very slick, rounded P. And now Pick Boy's still alive and kicking, and we have what is referred to as the next generation logo.
And
which is a little sad, I will say. I mean, it's awesome that Pick Boy still lives on and still, is as awesome as he ever was. But it's to me personally, the Pick Boy logo that Pick Boy always used to wear was always directly related to the graphics and style of You Pick Live.
Yeah.
Whereas the new P logo has no tie.
Yeah, exactly.
To You Pick Live.
Yeah.
So.
But we will talk about Pick Boy's longevity and so much more tomorrow on the Brandon Parnes Hour Fun. But for today, now...
Whoa. Brandon, are you inviting me back?
I am inviting you back.
The fun continues tomorrow, everybody. The fun will continue tomorrow.
Tomorrow on the Brandon Parnes Hour Fun, more with Jeff Sutphen, more amazing stories from the world of Nickelodeon and beyond. Thank you, Jeff, for being here today.
Thanks for having me, and I can't wait to be back tomorrow.
And we will be back tomorrow here on the Brandon Parnes Hour Fun. Stay tuned for Carson Daly, and we will see you tomorrow with more Brandon Parnes Hour Fun. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.